Hi there, Malcolm here with my 69th Booktube video, and today I'll be doing the mid-year freakout tag 2019. And then I have a cat.
We'll see what he does.
Yeah, so I shall do this video with a cat's butt.
A lot of people love cats actually involved. Yeah.
I'll just sit that way. Right. As far as I can tell, this tag was originated by Like Wildfire and Earl books. I'll leave a link to them below. And basically this is 15 questions covering the first half of the year. So let's get cracking. Question 1, the best book you've read this year. I'm going to say The Expanse Book 8, Tiamat's Wrath by James S.A. Corey. I've absolutely loved this series so far. This is the penultimate book. Bit of a cheat really, it's an automatic win as far as I'm concerned. I just finished reading it last month and I reckon it's just as good as the rest of the series so far. Great stuff. Heads up, you might see this book a few more times during this tag. Question 2, what's the best sequel you've read so far this year? Well, not counting what I've just waved at you, I would say Shadow Captain by Alistair Reynolds, which is book 2 of Revenger. Seems to be a hard copy to get hold of. I've only managed a library copy so far, hence not being able to wave it at you. But I found it a very good continuation of the story that set up a lot and left me wanting more. And this one left me wanting more as well. Revenger was the first book by Alistair Reynolds I'd read. I've read quite a few more since then, but really enjoyed going back to that universe. Question 3, a new release you haven't read yet but want to. Up until a month ago it would have been Tiamat's Wrath. I've read it now, I haven't spotted it yet, but when I do spot it I'll pick up book 5 of the Jack West Jr. series by Matty Riley and the follow-on to the 4 Legendary Kingdoms, The 3 Secret Cities, which I believe was published at the end of last year. I've not read this one yet either. Must do some catching up. These are a lot of fun. They're Indiana Jones meets Lara Croft meets the highest high octane you could go for. They read like a bad yet entertaining action film, which is the idea. Full of booby traps, races against the clock, and bad guys doing bad stuff. What more could you ask for? Question 4, the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Now don't keep my ear too close to the ground regarding upcoming books unless it's one I'm really desperately interested in. There's nothing on the immediate radar that I'm aware of. Book 9 of this, for example, isn't out until next year, I would expect. And I believe that Kevin Hahn is working hard on the second book of the 7th Kenning series. This is book 1, A Plague of Giants. Really enjoyed this one. I would like to see the second one, but I'm not expecting that one for a while. And I'm also aware that Alex Scarrow is currently working on book 10 of the Time Rider series. However, I don't know if that's going to come out this year or not. So there's some I am waiting for, but not necessarily this year. Question 5 is, what's your biggest disappointment? And I would say the book 4 of A Long Time Ago from the Star Wars Marvel Collected comics. It's dated really badly. The characters are flat and uninteresting. It might have worked better as a monthly, fortnightly periodical, but as a sit down and read, this was a real slog to get through. And at 356 pages, it was quite a sizable slog as well. And I didn't have the highest hopes for it, having read a previous book of this. It was alright, but even then it was a disappointment. Question 6 is, what is your biggest surprise? Keeping with the Star Wars theme, my biggest surprise was Star Wars The Clone Wars Book 2, Wild Space by Karen Miller. They say never to judge a book by its cover. This one features a whole bunch of clone troopers doing their clone trooper thing. I was expecting a run-of-the-mill space soldiers doing space soldier things, perhaps a bit of morality, a bit about trying to take the ground, no man's land, standard war stuff. Instead, the picture on the front cover has nothing to do with the contents of the story, which is a really good character piece on Obi-Wan Kenobi and Bail Organa, the man who would go on to adopt a baby Leia. As politician and Jedi find themselves stranded on a planet which is sapping Obi-Wan's strength, and they're having to put their differences aside and their preconceptions about each other aside in order to survive. And as time goes on, things get harsher and harder for them, and both men are stripped back to their base levels from where only a genuine and wonderful friendship can blossom between these two. Not what I was expecting at all. Blew my socks off. Read right at the beginning of the year and has only just been usurped as the best book by Tiamat's Wrath. Question 7 is my new favourite author, either their debut or it's new to me. I'm going to say new to me, and I'm going to say Karen Miller. She had a really interesting insight into the human psyche, and I loved everything she wrote. I'm really keen to read more by her. Question 8 is my newest fictional crush. I shall turn to The Ember Blade by Chris Wooding for the answers to my next 2 questions, as Chris Wooding is fantastic at writing characters. This is his first foray into epic fantasy, something I think he achieved with flying colours, and the band of freedom fighters that get together here are fantastic, and one of which is a young lass called Fen, who's a kick-ass archer, but very much struggling with trust issues. And she's got a very good reason, there's backstory there, and they've all got backstories. And I can't help but just want to give her a hug, but obviously on her terms. Not so much a crush necessarily, but certainly one I'd like to look after. And question 8, my newest favourite character is the character of Grub from this book. Grub is a disgraced, fortune-seeking man whose people go out, do great deeds, and come back and have tattooed all their great stories and are hailed as heroes. This guy cheated and got disgraced for it, and so hasn't got a lot to live up for, hasn't got a lot of expectations. He's often the butt of jokes, he's crass, he's rude, he's obnoxious, and you would think not very likeable, but you can't help but love him. He lights up every scene he's in. He saves the day on more than one occasion, and in the end he becomes a big lovable rogue. That being said, yes, he's my favourite character, but no, I wouldn't want to spend any time with him. Question 10 is the book that made me cry. I don't believe I shed a tear, but I read both of these aloud to my wife, and I must confess at certain points reading aloud did become a little bit more tricky. There were a couple of scenes, throat was catching, voice wasn't wanting to come out clearly. So there we go. Question 11, the book that made me happy. I'm going to say Orbitsville by Bob Shaw. I won't necessarily say the book itself, but there's something about reading classic sci-fi, particularly by the likes of Bob Shaw, A.E. Van Vogt, Harry Harrison, Robert Heinlein, Isaac Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke. I just get comfort from it, and it does help if the book is good and interesting as well, in which case this one was. I enjoyed reading it and I felt good about life when I'd finished it. Question 12 is the best book to film adaptation, and I'm going to say Alita Battle Angel. I've not read the book, so I don't have any preconceptions or disappointments about what they did or didn't put in the movie, but I absolutely love the film. It was the first film I saw this year. I haven't seen a huge amount of films this year, and yes, Endgame was really, really, really good, but that's got like 20 films backing it up. Alita came out of nowhere and was really fantastic. Can't wait for that to come out on DVD or Blu-ray. Hands down, best film I've seen this year. Question 13 is the most beautiful book given to me, or that I bought. Yes, I've waved Tiamat's Wrath at you a lot. It's a gorgeous cover with bright orange sleeves. Okay, the depiction or whatever it is isn't that clear, but I love it. Question 14 is the best video or review I've done so far. Well, I've written down a whole bunch of facts and figures, so bear with me. Somehow I've only done 3 book reviews this year, what with moving house and this not bothering. But my review of Shadow Captain, Alistair Reynolds, was my first one, which I believe I did back in March. Is the most successful of my reviews with all of 20 views and 3 whole likes. Going back a bit further, my most successful video of all time, and it's a review as well, is for Predator, If It Bleeds, the short story collection, which has 253 views, 6 likes, and 1 dislike. And that's my most successful video to date. My most successful video so far this year is when I showed off the board game Sorcerer by White Wizard Games, and that has 54 views and 1 like. And a couple of shout outs. My least successful video so far this year is another book review, Planetfall by Emma Newman, which only got 4 views. And if you want to go for all time, my day 6 of the Strike Back Videothon that we did last year, which was on the book related merch I've got, which has all of a single view. Question 15, books that I have to read by the end of the year. Well, the obvious answer is as much as I can. However, that's a bit of a cop-out, so I'll go for The 4 Legendary Kingdoms and 3 Secret Cities by Matthew Riley, a book I literally picked up yesterday, book 2 of the Planetfall series by Emma Newman after Atlas, and a book I've not yet got my hands on. I was hoping to get it from the library, but I might have to end up buying it in the end, and that is Thunderhead by Neil Schusterman. I read Scythe last year, really, really enjoyed it, and it's been on my library pile ever since. I'd be very remiss if I don't get to read that this year. So there you go, I believe it's all 15 questions. What was quite surprising is I kept showing you the same books. I've read 73 at this point of the year and only seem to show you the same 3. Never mind, that's how it works sometimes. I hope you enjoyed that. I did a lot. If you have already done this tag, then please do leave a link or list in the comment section down below and I'll go and check it out. If you haven't done this tag and would like to, then go ahead. You can do it as a blog, you can do it as a vlog. You don't even have to share it. You can just do it for your own amusement or interest. And if you have nothing nice to say, then please do keep it to yourself. Thank you. Until next time, see you later.